All right, here we go. We're going to start the live trading. The market is open. It's 9:32 a.m. Eastern. If you haven't caught the pre-market report, go ahead and check that out. The Emini SP 500 from the short side is our pick today. I'm going to try not to chase, but if it does get into a good trend run to the downside and then we get a minor pullback, we'll look to go short. Basically, the game plan is that stocks will be under pressure because of rates that are increasing. All accounts point to that being the outcome for today. Of course, it doesn't always work out exactly as we expect it to, but we'll do the best that we can. The important thing is that we prepare, lay out our game plan for the day, and then trade that game plan, follow our process. The rest will take care of itself. And normally I'm active at the open at 9:30 a.m. Eastern if I'm trading stocks. But we have ISM this morning at 10 a.m. A big announcement. Talked about that in the pre-market video. We've also got Powell with a fireside chat at 11 a.m. Eastern, an hour after ISM. So the fireworks are really going to get started here in about 25 minutes upon the release of ISM. It's one of only a couple of news announcements that are dealing with relatively leading indicators for the economy. So it's a big one. It's going to cause a lot of volatility, and hopefully we will be able to capitalize. The key thing is that we're patient and we wait for the market to come to us. I can't stress how important that is. So in the meantime, we'll sit here and watch the price action together. I'm not against taking a trade before ISM. If we were to get a pop up into resistance, I may take a short depending on what the pattern looks like and where we're at. But I'm really just interested in watching the price action leading into the ISM. It's super important. What we can see, if you look, you can see there on the charts that this particular exhaust here, this was right here at the close yesterday, right? So we had a big exhaust, and look at that. I mean, was that to take out some stops up there behind those highs? Sure looks like it could have been. And then boom, straight back down. So now that we're coming back down off of that big exhaust, that tends to mean that there's quite a bit of overhead inventory, let's call it 50% of the way into that reversal bar right there. So that's about 45.75-ish right there on the S&P 500 futures December contract. That also coincides with the middle of the moving average envelope. You can see we've got the peak right there. That's at about 45.75-ish. So a lot of resistance up there. You've got an extension trend line, 45.75. So I don't know if we're going to get up there, but right now, that is the number I'm looking at, 45.75, ish. If we were to pop up there and I was to see some confirmation on the intraday volume charts we've got here, that's where I'd be looking to, initiate a short position. Remember, we're trading the challenge here. We've got 3 accounts. And if you haven't been following our progress on these 3 accounts, they are currently at, I can check here 1 second, made 720 on each account on the Russell on Wednesday. Yesterday broke even on the long side from the S&P 500, even though it ended up being quite a good day at the end of the day. But I was looking for some juice to the long side at the open. We didn't get that. So I ended up taking one small loss, one small win, both from the long side. I like to trade in one direction. Once I put together my pre-market forecast, yesterday the direction was long. The market was the S&P 500. Today the market is short. The market is the S&P 500 from the short side. The direction is from the short side only. So I'm not going to be looking for long trades. That's the way I operate. It helps to focus and dial in by looking at the market from only one side. That's the way I like to do it. I found that it helps me a lot. And one of the biggest problems I can see out there with a lot of people, are problems I used to experience, is sitting in front of a market trying to always wonder which side you should trade it from. That's going to really be a mind, I don't want to say that on YouTube. Might be some little kids watching, but it's a mind banger, put it that way. All right. So yeah, I found that trading from one side is really, really helpful. And my mentor, I can't name him because I don't want to, I'm not allowed to use like anybody's name for endorsement purposes and things like that. But my mentor always said, if you're going to day trade, from the side you think it's most likely to go. It doesn't mean you're always going to be right on picking the side, but it does mean that your mind is going to be more focused in terms of just looking at the market from that side. So Helps me a lot. Hope it helps you too. Okay. Hopefully, Quant Tower and Rhythmic will be working today. Yesterday, a lot of people were having problems with these prop firms and Quant Tower and Rhythmic. So I hope that they've ironed out those issues. Right. Back to the accounts. We've got a balance of $52,109 on one account, $51,904, and then $51,560. So, the profit target, the goal for these is 3,000. So we're kind of getting there. Just doing the challenge for fun. And who knows if we'll pass or not. These are really hard, even for experienced traders. I keep talking about the difficulty level of these. You've got to put up, 150 to 200% to get paid. Forget the $50,000. You get to lose whatever it is, depending on what company you're going with. I'm not going to name the company. I'm not endorsing any of these companies. I like these companies. I think they offer they have a place for their products. And if you're going to lose money trading when you're starting out, and you can do it, a little bit more carefully through challenges, then I think that's great. But don't kid yourself that you're going to use challenges to sit there and print money for the rest of your life. They're really just a good, it's kind of like a fun social trading thing. That's kind of how I view it. There's a lot of people out there on YouTube doing it. It creates a lot of buzz. I think it's really cool. But if you're able to do whatever, 5% or 3% in a month on your own money, and you can do that month after month after month, that's 50, 60% a year. If you can do that, you'll just trade your own money, and then you don't have the restrictions of the challenge company rules. You don't have to hit the amounts they're telling you have to hit, which is 200% often, in a month. It's crazy. Even a year, some of these companies, they talk about, okay, hey, you only have to pay whatever it is, $50, $100, $150 a month, right? And if you pass this challenge, we'll give you this account. First of all, they don't give you anything. They put you on another demo account. I'm not knocking it. That's fine. That's what they do. But then second of all, you've still got to put up, like let's say, for example, you're able to risk, they say you're allowed, let's just say for the sake of keeping this easy, you're allowed to lose $3,000, right? On a 50K challenge, right? And I don't even think they're that high, but let's say you are. But then you got to make 3,000 in order to pass that challenge, even if it's only one step, right? That's still 100%. And so I think that that's definitely attainable if you have a trading plan and you happen to hit a spell of the market where things are working for you and for your system, sure. And you got to put on big size, but don't kid yourself. You got to put on, it's more entertainment rather than a business. And I see a lot of people, I'm going to make challenges my business. I don't know about that. I think it's more to learn, practice your skills, play with your friends, compete with other people out there on YouTube. That's what I think the challenges are for. So I'm just doing this for fun. I wanted to check out how these things work. So no idea if we'll pass, but we'll see. Right now we're doing okay. All right, so we're pushing higher. Like I said, 45.75 up in here somewhere is kind of where I'm interested. I'd like us to push a little bit higher. And I'll get, it's moving a little bit. So if we get a good opportunity to shore up there pre-ISM, I might do it, depending on how close we are to the news announcement. I don't want to be holding into ISM, certainly not. All right. Gotta refill my water here shortly. The water jug. Yeah, if we were to get a spike right now up to like 45.74. Yeah, right now if we got a spike up to 45.75 and we got a little pattern up there, I'd be interested in shorting that. So let's see how that goes. You guys know my philosophy. I like to plan my day, wait for my setups, try and hit it, get the money, and get out. It's like a casino. The longer you hang around, the more likely you are to give it all back. That is just the nature of the beast. I can't wait till my standing desk comes. I'm gonna get it this weekend, and it's gonna be so good for my neck and my back just to be standing instead of sitting in this chair. For those of you who didn't catch the pre-market forecast, the reason I'm looking short is because you have a lot of resistance up here in this daily range, and you got a little flash pattern. Don't get me wrong, it could totally change its mind and blow through resistance. Just it looks like resistance is going to continue to be strong. So that's the side that I'm going to focus on for a potential move back down into support. And then what you can see here on this big exhaust that we talked about earlier, there should be a lot of overhang resistance into that 45.75 level. So we're just going to patiently wait. Go ahead and just pause it while I refill my water real quick. All right, got the water jug all ready to go. It is 9:43 a.m. Eastern. I imagine it's going to be pretty quiet heading into ISM at 10 a.m. We'll see. But look, 45.75, I'm willing to give it a little bit of a shot there. If this is, if this can give me a little bit of a push up to that level here, you've got some higher time period resistance here. Higher time period is in congestion. You got 1 to 2 envelope back up in here. You got the peak of the middle of the moving average envelope. I like that 45.75 level. Who knows? Just because I like it doesn't mean jack, but it's where I'm willing to potentially transact. That was a really, really fancy way of saying that's where I intend to try and short the you-know-what out of this market if it goes there. And when I say short the you-know-what, I mean one big E-mini contract across 3 challenge accounts. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. If you can push up there. Trying. By the way, if I'm squinting a lot, it's because the lighting, it's bright for these webcams to work. Oh, there's could be the exhaust. You see that big push up there? Oh, I think that was global. That was some S&P medium number. So that's just coming in ahead of ISM. I was paying so much attention to Powell and ISM. I forgot about that 9:45 a.m. release, but it wasn't a big one. You can see it hasn't really moved the market much. I'm hoping it can push us up just a little higher. Give us some juice. We've also got those live yellow dots right there. I'm not going to talk about what those are right now, but they're just kind of adding more resistance to that 45.75. So you want to try and find out where a lot of things are lining up. Doesn't mean that the level has to hold. Just means you got maybe a little bit of a better edge there. So still not there, still waiting. And remember, we're just using, the basic logic of Owings market analysis here. If I'm going to get, this might be the high here, you just never know. But if I'm going to get short up here, number one, I want it to go to my level, which is 45.75. We got kind of close there. And number two, the lower time period here is going to have to show me some evidence that it's respecting that level, right? So right now you can see it's trying to push down, which tells us so far there's a little respect to that level. But right now it is trending up technically. So, I wouldn't, I would wait for a little bit more confirmation. It's always good to wait, right? If you're not sure, just wait. You don't need to rush. We got ISM coming out in 13 minutes now, so probably going to slow down a little bit heading into the release. Gives us a good opportunity to stretch, relax, get ready. Oh, I gotta get a massage gun. The thing. They go like. Have you seen those? They're awesome. My buddy had one. He let me try it. It was like so good. I'm just gonna get it and sit here and live trade and just have it here for my neck. All right, so we could get up there to 45.75. The dollar, remember, is continuing to be pretty strong right now. Rates aren't mounting much of a comeback. So I think right now, anyways, it looks like stocks could stay under pressure. You can't know until you bet. So I'm taking the short side. Don't know what's going to happen though. And we'll just wait and drink water while we wait. Had a good workout. Ran a little over 3 miles. Did a little chest and triceps. Not much, just a little. And did a nice sauna and ice shower, which was awesome. So that was pretty sweet. Go ahead and turn our chair over like this a little bit so we can, then I can look straight. I don't have to, then I can just look over here when I look at you guys. And I can just look at the chart like this because that's what I'm looking at most of the time. At some point, we'll live stream all this on YouTube, but to be honest, I'm here first and foremost for my own trading, and I got to really focus on this. I don't know how I would, chat with people. It's not really a social time for me. Trading, it's more of a, make money time. But I'm posting these videos so you can see how I live trade, so you can hopefully learn something and have it benefit your own trading. Sitting around talking, well, we could be sitting around making money. Kind of seems, I get the social aspect. That's kind of fun, but once the channel grows a little bit, we'll do more like live streaming. We'll live stream trade together sometimes, maybe the afternoons when I'm not as active on my own accounts, but during the peak volatility, I like to really focus on the trade execution and following my game plan. Good news is you get my game plan before the open, or before I'm going to trade anyways. You get to know exactly how I'm seeing things and how I'm going to trade. Now, I don't know if that's going to do you any good, but my hope is that it will. All right, so ISM is about 10 minutes. You can see we're just chopping around, so probably not going to do anything before ISM. If it punches up to my 45.75 level here very soon, I might still short, but we're getting kind of closer to ISM now. What would be really sweet is if this lower time period here enters congestion down. That would tell us that there's at least some resistance in this area where we thought there should be. And then if it can just hang out here while we await ISM, and then on the back of ISM, if we could get a pop, see some resistance, short, and get the reversal back down, those are the ones I love on the back end news. So we'll see. All right. Give me 1 second here. All right. We're back. Eight minutes until ISM. See what the other markets are doing. It's going to be interesting. Are we going to pop or are we going to go down? We shall see. Treasuries are flat while we await the news. Gold's up a little bit, but like we said in the pre-market forecast, it's already, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe things will go up today. Maybe you'll see gold rally, treasuries rally, and stocks rally. I just don't know. The dollar is looking pretty darn strong. See, it's kind of the fly in the ointment, the dollar today. Check this out. This is against the Euro futures. I covered this in the pre-market forecast. We broke a ton of support here at about 109.25 on the futures, right there, 109.17. And we are firing lower here for the dollar. So that can, that's a pretty big comeback there for the king dollar. And it looks like we're gunning for these lows, which I think the stock market's going to have a difficult time rallying in the face of that. But you just don't know. We'll see. Commodities are under pressure already from that strong dollar. Natural gas is under pressure. When I say commodities, I mean corn, wheat, soybeans, but I know they're all commodities. But anyways, the food, corn, wheat, soybeans are under pressure. Natural gas under pressure. Crude's not really doing much right now, only 0.2%. The metals are not doing great. So yeah, we're going to look at this from the short side and see what we got cooking. The key is just to let the market confirm, right? So if we just started racing to the upside right now, you know, hopefully I can use my charts here to at least give me an idea where I have the best opportunity to test out a short. It was like yesterday when I was, my bias was to the long side. I just kind of tested it out carefully. But when I saw my support level was breaking, I cut it quickly. You know, you want to cut your losers when you can see your level breaking. That's what I did. And then I gave it another shot, made a little bit of money back on that first one I lost. I could also see that support level wasn't strong. So that's why I just said, you know what, today's not the day to push it. And that was smart, even though at the end of the day, you did have that surge to the upside. All right, it is about 5 minutes until ISM. Exciting, very exciting. And if I look very focused while staring at the charts, it's because I'm freaking focused. You have to be. All right, so watch. It's probably going to get up to my beloved 45.75-ish level where I want to short right before ISM, and I can't. I can't hold a short into that news announcement. You say, oh, well, what if it drops 30 points and you would have made... It doesn't matter. It's like on the back of these news announcements, I mean, you can be right, and it'll just, you know, it's gambling. You don't want to trade these announcements. Now, right after the announcement, you know, after that initial, you can see when it starts to settle, it does a big move. If you get a spike up into resistance, you want to short, or you get a spike down into support, you want to go long. That's, you know, I do that sometimes if I see the right setup. But in terms of holding a position into the announcement, if I do that, it's never. But if I do, on the super rare occasions I do, I know technically I said never, but very rarely, very, very rarely, I'll do it on the 10-year treasury. But even then, not often. And that's only because the 10-year is so thick. The book is harder to move around on the 10-year. Still does. I mean, I've seen, that's the thing too with the 10-year. That's also, you know, because it's smaller contract value, right? So like the 10-year, even if it does a huge move on the back of the news, you know, let's say it goes 1 full point, you know, that's $1,000 per contract. That's manageable, right? But something like NQ or ES or crude oil or gold, you can quickly be several grand on the wrong side, and that's not fun. So better not to do that. All right. 2.5, 3 minutes to go. Oh, I stretch a lot just because after the gym, it's nice to, you know, keep the body loose. My neck's going to be doing a lot better when I get my standing desk delivered. And just generally the winters here in Sweden, you know, I'm not a winter guy being from SoCal, so the snow and the dark, my whole body just gets tight and doesn't feel good all winter. Can't wait to get back to the sun. Probably going to be Portugal next. We'll see. Maybe the Algarve. Been there before in southern Portugal. It's nice. Canary Islands are nice, but a little boring. A little one-dimensional, kind of a tourist paradise. I don't know. Not really a great place to raise a family. Nice place to visit. Just a little small after a while. All right. 2 minutes. Check in on everything else. Yeah, you can see the dollar's just leading the way to the downside. So that could be the giveaway. We'll see. I know the Dow had a really nice exhaust. I talked about that in the pre-market. But if I have a choice to trade the Dow versus the S&P, I'll trade the S&P just because of the thicker book. So dollar is rallying, heading into ISM here in about a minute and a half, minute. Everything else, bonds are about break even. Gold, silver, copper's the only one that's kind of leading the charge here. Up almost 1%. Everything else is all the food, Corn, wheat, soybeans are down. All right, so about a minute to go. Are you ready? Here we go. Gotta have a little fun. But while we're having fun, we gotta make sure we maintain our focus. It's good to be loose and have fun, but you also gotta stay dialed in while being loose and having fun. Sometimes that can be a difficult balance to strike. All right, clock just struck 9:59. You'll start to see the order book there on the DOM thin out. Won't be people will be pulling orders. All the bots will pull their orders. That's why it moves so much on the back of these announcements. Got the agua going. All right, it's 9:59 and 40 seconds. Not going to be in too much of a rush. See, there's the order book thinning out. 5 seconds, my friends. And it's launch time. There's the spike. Let's see if we get an opportunity to short up there. I'd like it to push a little higher. Close up there. And try and short 45.76. My mental stop is 79. Dropping it to 75. I don't know if we'll get there. Maybe 74. 74. All right, we're short at 74. And I'm going to flatten that. I think I made like a tick. That was break even. The reason I flattened that is because I was so focused on everything, I didn't see the higher time period pattern there, which was definitely strong support at 45.70. So I didn't want to stay short against that. I want to let this thing develop. I'm still on a short up here somewhere potentially. But when I saw where I was shorting there against that higher time period, that's why I cut it at break even. Make sure, yeah, we got out. Now we made one tick. Beautiful. We're up a tick. Should we quit? I think we should. All right, so now we're just waiting. We are flat. Nothing on the order book. No orders. We're waiting to see if we get some sort of a short pattern up here. Even though 45.75 was the original level, it's really this whole area up here. So let's see if this, if we get some sort of a flash pattern up here, we'll see. And I want to see what the number came out as. Let's quickly check. Dollar still under pressure. The bonds are rallying a little bit so far. Crude's up a little bit. Metals are up a little bit. Still, we'll see. Not giving us much information at the moment. You see, that's how I like to manage risk. When I took that short and then I saw, oh, the higher time period, this is not a good place to be short right now, because I was so focused on the news in the lower time period that as soon as I was short, I saw the higher time period. I said, no, I don't want to be short here. Just cut it, right? Sometimes, people think once they get into a position, they've got to just hang on for dear life. No way. If you're in and you don't like what you see, get the hell out. So important. It's a lot easier to just, it's about getting rid of your own ego and your need to be right. That'll keep you on the right side of things. All right. So we're just gonna have to see, you know. Maybe it's gonna be a bullish day. I don't know. I still want to go short up here somewhere. We're still up into resistance. But these are tricky markets, so we gotta trade them accordingly. Keep an eye on the 10 years at 0.41. Let's remember that together. And the euro is minus 0.29. But I mean, if these highs hold, you know, up in here, and if the lower time period confirms, then we're gonna have to take a shot at a short. But really, you know, only if the lower time period confirms and the higher time period. So this is the thing. You come into the day with your prep, your bias, and then just carefully watch what the intraday price action is telling you, and you know, try to make your decisions as best you can based off of that. So in other words, if you want to go short and you've got some key resistance levels, try and let price action tell you that, you know, those resistance levels are holding. You never know, but you can, you know, get a sense of it. All right, so just kind of waiting for right now. We broke through that 45.75, so probably at least had it. You know, we're at these old highs basically right now, so 45.80. We still have a lot of resistance up there on the daily at 45.90. Well, this might be, we'll see. Let's see, there's a nice flash pattern, and that might be the spike up for the reversal back down potentially. But we're going to wait for the higher time period here to close and then see what the lower time period is doing. And we can see that the treasuries are 0.34, gold's 0.4. Oh, euro, yeah, minus 0.37. So the dollar is getting stronger. Let's see, so that is definitely interesting. Oh, treasuries now are coming back off a little bit. So this, we'll see. Could be good if we find a good spot to get short. Gotta remember, guys, nothing in this business is ever guaranteed. Anybody who tells you that it is or that it's easy is, you know, full of it. Yeah, you can make a lot of money, especially if you've got something really good that works. But you know, you can never take it for granted, and you've always got to, I don't know, you've got to be on your game constantly. You can just never ever take it for granted. Is really what it comes down to. The moment you start thinking you can do no wrong is the moment you're gonna really fuck up. Happens to all of us. Learn that through experience. All right, so far that resistance is looking pretty strong. Still a little too premature to short, but I'm getting interested, certainly, up into that 45.80 level. It is 10:07. Treasury is 0.36. Euro minus 0.32. All right, we got one more lower time period bar here until this higher time period closes. The question is, are we breaking out here now on the higher time period, or are we just extending the congestion range to these highs? We don't know yet. You know, we're gonna have to just let the lower time period tell us. I think my sore throat that I was getting seems to be under control with the ice showers and the saunas. But when you get the cold coming on, you got to go easy on the cold therapy. I notice I don't want to stand as long in the ice shower when I can feel a bit tingle in the throat there. All right, so you can see that resistance is distributing right now. Let's check the number. That will be interesting. Go ahead and just bring that over here. Let's see. Zero Hedge usually has a pretty good read on it. Oh, the truce collapsed. Missiles fly over Gaza. Okay, interesting. That should spark crude. Let's see. Not seeing much yet. So ISM came out 46.7 versus 47.6. So that's kind of, I would say that's, it's a bit more stock market positive, but I'd be aware of that. Not like it came in super hot. Doesn't mean stocks won't drop, they might, but they could also go higher. Right now, the 10 years kind of hanging out there. Gold's still holding up all right. Crude's catching a little bit of a bid. The dollar's still strong, though, so far. We'll have to see. Zero Hedge will give a good comprehensive review of the numbers. So this could definitely be a short here, setting up. I gotta see where this closes, though. Or it's breaking out, it's one or the other. So right now, the lower time period is trending up, but the trend is weakening a little bit. All right, we're short. Just concentrating. Still a lot of support at 45.75. So if I see that start to hold, I'll bail on my short. So far, it's struggling at that 45.77 support, so I might have to bail. A little more time. But it's held there now 3 or 4 times. Let's see how it reacts. This is the fourth time. If this holds, we're going to probably bail. But if it breaks, it could be good. We'll see. Could be nice just to get a crack down to 45.70. The mental stop is pretty much break even right now. It's tempting to take a little profit, but we cracked through 45.75 pretty good, so it'd be nice if it could run a little bit. All right, we'll take our profit there. It looks pretty weak, but there is a lot of temporary support right there, and I'm not 100% sure on how this day is going to play out. You know, you're never 100% sure, but some days you can feel it a bit more. And today, you know, I'm not really sure if it's going to end up being a totally bearish day. We'll see. That is my forecast. But that was a good trade. We waited for it. We executed our plan, which was nice. What did we make? So we made 262 across all three accounts. I know you couldn't see the open profit here, but I'll let me fix that for you 1 second. I'll show you the numbers at the end of the trading. It's fine, but that's fine. That takes one of our accounts to 52,363. Another one is at 52,133, and then another one's at 51,789. So I'm just gonna kind of wait now and just wait for the day to develop a little bit. This definitely could head lower. And under normal circumstances, I would want to hold that a bit longer. Yeah, here you can see it's going a little bit. But, you know, the markets are tough to read right now. And that's also one really important thing about a really good technical analysis system, thankfully, that I have with my OMA, is that you can see when things are not clear. And that in and of itself is a really big advantage, right? Because if you don't know that you're driving through a snowstorm, then you're a lot more likely to, you know, crash the car, right? Blow up your account. So when you can see that these markets are messy, to me, that just, you know, on these days, I have enough experience to know that if I'm not super clear on it, like even though my bias is to the short side, it's not like, you know, it's not a crazy bias to the short side, right? So I'm just exercising a bit more caution. So we'll just see. It is heading lower. I just wasn't willing to, you know, hold right there because of all that support. But that's, you know, that support appears to be breaking now. So, and you can always re-enter, right? So let's say that this really starts to slam to the downside and start, oh, I say, okay, there is a lot more selling than, you know, than maybe I thought. Then sure, just, you know, be patient and try and wait for a pullback on the lower time period and, you know, rejoin the party. It's just, you got to relax. It's never good to, you know, trading is very stressful. So it's good to just not get FOMO and not chase things. That's really all I can say. All right. So just kind of observing now. You know, you can see too, it's easier to hold a position for longer when you're going with a multiple time period trend and you really got that power behind, you know, behind you if you're long or you're short, right? Whereas right now you can see the higher time period, we're in a pretty wild, choppy congestion range. And, you know, thanks to our Owings market analysis tools, we shorted right there. I mean, look at all this, and then we shorted right there. That was a good spot to short right there, right? And then we took some profit. I think we made whatever we made, like 5 points on the ES. That was good across 3 accounts. And now we just wait and see, just let the party come to you, right? You don't need, it's like, you don't need to be the one forcing the action. Because look, this weekly is still, we could pull back, could push up to those highs. I mean, it's tough to read right now. But like I said, knowing that it's tough to read is a huge benefit in and of itself. Because most of the time it's not that hard to read, to be honest. But those times when it is hard to read, that's the time when a lot of other people who don't know what they're seeing get back a lot of profits. So if you can just know that, hey, now's not a time to put my foot on the gas, then you can save a lot of the money hopefully you've made and not give a bunch of it back, right? That's super important. Keeping the money you make is in some ways more important than the money you make, right? It's, if you can't keep it, what's the point? And look at this daily here. I mean, check this out. I mean, here, just one. I mean, no, really here. I mean, you had that big push up November 14th, and then since then, like, yeah, we're higher, but look at the action, just tight and just it's fits and starts. And then really the last since November 20th, so a good third of the month. I mean, half of the month of November, and really the last third. I mean, this is just wild chop. So this is why it's good to exercise caution right now, which is why we are. Because you're not getting clean bars either. You see how a lot of these are closing right here. You see how you're all these, since this close here on November 20th, you see how all these closes are, kind of in this middle range, right? That's not a clean market right there. Not a clean market. If it's not clean, don't push it. Clean is like orderly, right? So we're just going to chill out now and see what this thing wants to do. But a good first trade. I'm happy with the execution, following the plan. Still kind of waiting, feeling things out to see, if the bears are going to make this thing crack or not. We don't know. And what time is it? It is 10:21 a.m. Eastern. Nice. That was a big sell order. So you can see that big sell order came in at 45.75. We got Powell in 40 minutes. I want to get Zero Hedge's take on the ISM. That reminds me, I got to renew my Zero Hedge subscription because they actually are one of the few fundamental news providers that give really interesting information that is usable if you know how to use it. So here we go. Here's their free service. It says U.S. manufacturing surveys signal stagflation. Okay, so I'm just going to check this out. And yeah, it looks to me like this, like I said, it came out. It looks to me like the number is pretty supportive of the stock market and pretty supportive of the bond market in terms of, this number is telling us that the Fed doesn't need to hike anymore like all the other numbers. So let's go ahead and take a look at the overall markets. I think there's going to be a lot of support into this 45.70 area here for stocks. So keep an eye on that. Just take a look at the NASDAQ. Yeah, the NASDAQ's leaking lower, so it could lead the S&P like it did yesterday. So if the NASDAQ keeps cracking, I'll feel better about the S&P short. The 10-year, yeah, it is kind of pushing higher there, as would be expected after that ISM, that softer ISM print. Gold's pushing a little higher. The dollar, it's really just the euro. So the dollar is strong against the euro, but you see the dollar is, the Australian dollar is strong now against the dollar today. So I think this is going to put some support underneath the stock market. You know, the commodity currencies are catching a bit of a bid. Gold's catching a bid. Treasuries are catching a little bit of a bid. So you don't want to really be short the stock market when you can see all these other factors, right? So this is what I go into the day with my bias, but then I look at what all these other things are telling me about how the day is playing out. Now, does that mean I'm going to switch to the long side? No. It just means, you know, I'm going to be a little more careful from the short side. It's kind of like it was there, you know, short, just take some profit, don't push your luck. And that might be the only trade for the day. We're just going to have to wait and see. I mean, Powell's certainly going to, yeah, we'll see what he can do to get some volatility going. But right now, if there was no Powell and ISM was it, all the numbers so far right now across the broader market are telling us that stocks could be supported, right? Bonds are supported, rates falling, commodity currencies, Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar, pushing a little bit higher against the dollar today. Gold, silver catching a bid, copper catching a nice bid. Crude oil hasn't really taken off yet, but it's escalating in the Middle East. OPEC is cutting their output. So, you know, it's looking like for now, we've got a positive stock market environment for the rest of the day, which means we've got to be careful with our short. But Powell might spike the punch bowl. We don't know. That'd be cool, right? We got to wait and see what Powell does. And that is in about 35 minutes when he gets started. So I'm probably just going to wait for that. You can see the S&P starting to drop. So sure, had we held our short, that would have been nice. But I just didn't feel good holding that short in this environment here. And that's fine. So I'm just going to pause and wait till Powell, because at this point, I think we're going to see a pretty darn choppy day. And we've already made a little bit of money. There's really no need to, you know, force the action, right? So I want to wait and see what Powell does. And then when he's speaking, I want to see how the, you know, the different markets react and what that's telling us about what he's potentially saying. Because the day is long, right? I mean, if the bearish picture is correct here, ultimately this support down in here will crack and we can make another run at those lows. I mean, that's a lot of real estate to cover right there, right? So we could definitely, if that starts to happen, we can join the party and jump on the lower time period trend, no problem. But let's wait for it to happen. Right now, this is still, you know, this is just chop, right? You got to be careful in chop. And we took that trade on the Russell the other day. It was just beautiful, right? It was just trending up. Our bias was bullish. Everything was trending up. Beautiful pullback right at the open. Got long 2 contracts. Bang. You know, just made 720 across each account or something. You know, that's great, because that's what the market gave us on that day. Whereas today, it's choppy. You know, once you get a little money out of the casino, don't want to give it back so easily. So let's wait and see. I'm going to pause this and we'll wait for Powell, and then we will reconvene and see if the market wants to bless us with any more monetary blessings. All right. Just going to pause this puppy. All righty, we're back. It is 10:59 and 30 seconds. So Powell will start chatting away by the fire in about 30 seconds. I guess he'll have prepared remarks, but then maybe there'll be some volatility on the back of some question and answer. Had a nice chat over on the Nutty Bar live trading channel. And yeah, seems like a good group of guys over there. It's nice with the social aspect of trading. I do enjoy it. All right, let's focus on Powell here. It is 11 right now. if you start to see a lot of volatility right now, I guess that means he did release some prepared remarks. And those are being digested as we speak. Looks hawkish right now. Dollar's up big against the euro. Still down against the commodity currencies. 10 years giving back quite a lot. Gold's giving back a little. So, and you guys know when Powell speaks, be careful. Generally not a good time to trade. So I'm going to be very, very careful. If I see something I really like, I'll consider it. But really, I'm kind of just waiting to see if we can crack to the downside. I don't want to get involved in any of this. You can see we already took a little chunk out of it. That was great. We're patient. We waited. But, you know, I really want this thing to accelerate to the downside, get into a bit of a trend, and then that would confirm my daily bias, and then try and take a nice chunk out of that. That's where you'll take the biggest chunks. So that's what I'm waiting for. And if that doesn't happen, it's all good. Got a little bit of money. We just stop. There's TradeStation, refreshing some data. So it's all about patience. I mean, really, we spend most of our time watching, stocking, waiting. It's the key. So if you can be patient and wait, your odds of long-term success are much better than if you're impatient and can't wait. That is really, really, really important. We'll see if Powell can get anything going today. If not, probably call it a day myself and enjoy the weekend and be back for Monday. You know, I would say the last 3 days, in light of the markets we've seen, very happy with the performance, very happy with the, you know, following the trading process, important. And I do think this is going to be a lot of chop here with Powell. So probably just going to call it a day here and, you know, and end on the green and just be happy with it. Because this is just going to be, if we really start to break out to the downside, that could be a good opportunity to jump in. And maybe I'll do that later. But I think I'm going to be done streaming and catch up with you guys over the weekend or on Monday. So take care. Good luck. It's been a fun session. We finished up, let's see, across our 3 accounts, 262, 237, 237. So whatever that is, that's you know, like $750. That is not bad. So to end on that is a good way to end. So I'm gonna be happy with that. So take care, everybody, and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.